California just quietly did something no one thought possible. They replaced the equivalent of 12 full-sized nuclear power plants, and they did it with batteries. Not over decades, in about 3 years. While people were arguing about whether nuclear should make a comeback, California silently built the answer. In 9 minutes, we walk through how the math actually works, where these batteries live, what they cost, and what it means for your power bill. Here is the headline number. By the middle of 2026, California had about 13 gigawatts of grid-scale battery storage installed and running on its grid. A gigawatt is 1 billion watts. For comparison, a typical large nuclear reactor produces about 1 gigawatt of power when it is running at full output. So 13 gigawatts of batteries equals the peak output of roughly 12 nuclear reactors. That is the entire generating fleet of a mid-sized country. And the kicker, 3 years ago, California had under 1 gigawatt of grid batteries. The state added more storage capacity in 36 months than most countries have ever built. The grid operator that runs California is called CESO. Their data shows batteries are now the single biggest resource on the grid during peak evening hours. Between 5 and 9 p.m. every night, batteries push 6 to 8 gigawatts into the grid. That is the slot nuclear used to fill or gas peakers used to handle. Let us be precise about what this comparison actually means. A typical nuclear reactor in the United States is rated at about 1 gigawatt of continuous power output. Take 13 gigawatts of batteries, divide by 1 gigawatt per reactor, and you get 13 reactors of peak output. Round down a little for losses, you get 12. Nuclear takes 10 to 15 years to permit, license, and build in the United States. The last new American reactor cost over $30 billion and ran 7 years late. California built its 13 gigawatts of batteries in about 3 years. Same peak capacity, 1/5 the timeline, a fraction of the cost. This is why the energy world is suddenly paying attention. Speed, scale, and cost all moved in the same direction at once. That almost never happens. So, how does a battery actually replace a power plant? Let us walk through it. A power plant has 2 jobs: provide baseload all day and ramp up for peak demand. Most grid batteries today have what is called 4-hour duration. They can deliver their full rated power for 4 straight hours before they need to recharge. 4 hours sounds short, but the actual peak demand window each day, when the grid is screaming for power, is only about 4 hours long. 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So during the day, solar panels charge the batteries while the sun is high and electricity is cheap. The batteries sit there, fully loaded, waiting for evening. When the sun sets and demand spikes, the batteries dump their stored energy into the grid. They functionally become a power plant for those critical evening hours. They also provide ancillary services, things like frequency regulation, voltage support, and instant response to grid disturbances. Batteries are actually faster at this than any traditional plant. A gas peaker plant takes 10 to 30 minutes to spin up. A grid battery responds in milliseconds. The grid operator literally clicks a button and power flows instantly. Now let us talk about the problem batteries actually solved. It is called the duck curve. It has been haunting California grid operators for over a decade. Here is what it looks like. During the day, solar floods the grid with cheap energy. Net demand on traditional plants drops to almost nothing around noon. Then the sun starts setting around 6 p.m. Solar production collapses, but people are coming home, turning on AC, cooking dinner, charging cars. Demand explodes, so the grid needs a massive ramp, around 15 gigawatts of new generation in just 3 hours. That is the steepest demand curve any grid on Earth has to handle. Historically, this was filled by spinning up gas peakers and importing power from neighbors. Expensive, dirty, and stressful for the entire Western grid. Batteries fix the duck curve almost overnight. Charge cheap and clean at noon, discharge during the evening ramp. Smooth, fast, no smoke. The duck is essentially dead. So where does 13 gigawatts of battery storage physically live? You might picture a few skyscraper-sized buildings. The reality is actually hundreds of facilities spread across the state. The biggest single site is at Moss Landing on the Central Coast, over 3 gigawatts of capacity in a former gas power plant building. It is the largest battery installation on Earth. Then there is Edward Sanborn out in the Mojave Desert, almost 3 gigawatts paired with solar across the Dry Valley floor, massive scale, easy permitting, plenty of sunlight. Coalinga, Crimson, Gemini, Lassen. Each of these projects adds hundreds of megawatts. Dozens more sit on the interconnection queue waiting for grid approval. Almost every one of them uses lithium iron phosphate chemistry, the same LFP chemistry now in your home power wall. Safer, longer-lived, no cobalt, made cheap by Chinese factories. Most facilities look like a giant parking lot of shipping containers. Each container holds racks of battery cells with their own cooling and management system inside. Now, let us be honest about the comparison. A 4-hour battery is not the same as a nuclear reactor. Nuclear runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for years. A 1 gigawatt nuclear reactor produces 8,760 gigawatt hours of energy in a year. A 1 gigawatt 4-hour battery produces only what you put into it. So when we say 12 nuclear plants worth, we mean peak capacity. The ability to deliver power during the hours the grid most needs it, not total energy generated. Batteries also do not create new energy. They time-shift it. Something else, solar or wind or hydro, has to actually generate the electricity that goes in. But here is the thing. California has so much solar during the day that they were curtailing it, throwing away free clean energy because the grid could not absorb it. Batteries soak up that wasted noon solar and put it on the grid at 6 p.m. when it is worth 10 times more. The economics of the entire grid changed. California is leading, but Texas is right behind. The Texas grid added over 9 gigawatts of battery storage by the middle of 2026, mostly to handle summer heat. Texas built its fleet faster than anyone expected, loose permitting cheap land, lots of solar and wind to charge from. The grid there is now battery-supported during every summer evening. Arizona and Nevada are scaling fast, too. Both states pair solar plants directly with batteries. Build one, build the other. It is becoming the default new project template. The East Coast is lagging. New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts all have ambitious targets but limited land, slow permitting and grid interconnection backlogs measured in years. The Midwest is mostly absent, lots of wind but limited deployment of storage so far. That will change. Wind plus batteries is the future of the Great Plains grid. Now let us talk cost. This is where the story becomes impossible to argue with. Grid-scale lithium iron phosphate batteries install for about $300 to $400 per kilowatt-hour. New nuclear, if you could permit it today, runs about $7 to $10 per watt installed. The 2 recent Vogtle reactors in Georgia came in at around $15 per watt. Battery cost dropped roughly 80% in 10 years. Nuclear cost roughly doubled in the same period. The lines crossed years ago and just kept diverging. And nuclear has a hidden cost: decommissioning. After 60 years, you have to safely dismantle the reactor and store the fuel. That bill runs hundreds of millions per plant. Batteries get recycled. The lithium, iron, and phosphate inside an old battery are valuable materials that go straight back into making new batteries. The supply chain is becoming circular. The actual Federal Department of Energy projects that grid-scale storage will keep dropping another 40% by 2030. New nuclear will keep getting more expensive. California is not anti-nuclear, by the way. Diablo Canyon, the state's last big reactor, just got extended to operate through 2030 under a federal grant. They kept the working plant. Now, why should you care about any of this? Because grid-scale batteries are quietly reshaping the price of every kilowatt-hour you buy. First, gas peaker plants are getting used less and less. Those were the most expensive electrons on your bill. Pushing them off the grid lowers average wholesale prices. Second, time-of-use rate plans become more rewarding. The peak-to-off-peak price spread stays wide. If you can shift your laundry and EV charging to off-peak hours, you save real money. Third, more renewable energy is now actually delivered to your house instead of curtailed. Cleaner air, cleaner power, lower emissions per kilowatt hour. Tangible benefits. Fourth, if you own a home battery, the same dynamics are why your Powerwall pays off faster than it would have 5 years ago. The economy moved in your favor. Quick myth check. Myth 1. Batteries are dangerous. Modern grid LFP batteries do not thermally run away. They are inherently more stable than the lithium in your phone. Myth 2. Batteries are made by child labor and ruin the planet. LFP has zero cobalt and uses iron, the fourth most common element on Earth. Myth 3. California is killing its nuclear plants. False. They extended Diablo Canyon. They just stopped trying to build new reactors because batteries are cheaper and faster. So, here is the takeaway. California built 13 gigawatts of grid batteries in 3 years, equal to 12 nuclear plants of peak output. Faster, cheaper, cleaner, safer. Next up on CleanWatt, heat pump versus furnace, the real cost over 10 years. Subscribe so you do not miss it. We do the math, you make the call.